Good day, gentlemen. I got another story from the hood for you today. We're talking 1990. All throughout the 90s, this story is relevant for the entire 90s. Uh, Motorcycles in America have always been a part of the culture. I think they really got real popular after World War One. After they made the Harley Indian, where they use them as a messenger bike, and then you see the evolution of motorcycles all throughout, especially the 70s with the Hondas when they came on the market on the scene, and they were competing with Harleys. But then when it came up into the 90s, motorcycling and riding a bike really took off for a younger generation with the event of the crotch rocket, the Ninja, the Kawasaki, the Bugatti, the BMW. They changed completely. They were a lot faster. They were a lot more reliable, than the Harley, than the other bikes in the past. They were sport bikes. So what happened was just like pretty much everything that happens in the inner city, we have a bunch of poor people that can't really afford those types of things because they're economic exclusion. What happens is you get a group of guys together that say, "Hey, this is an opportunity," and I knew a whole crew that took advantage of that want. What they would do is they would actually rent U-Haul trucks, rider trucks, and at night, in the darkness, in the deep darkness, they would ride out to just about every county in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Delaware, and they would grab people's bikes out the driveway. Yes, they did. They would steal the bikes. They knew how to. They used to use the pulley to crack. You put the pulley with the screw into the ignition. You screw it down, and boom, you pop the ignition out. Stick a long screwdriver down. Boom, starts right up. They used the Superman locks. They used to put the Superman locks on the vehicle. They used to put the Freon. They used to buy free when you could buy Freon in the store. They used to put the Freon in the lock, and it would break the brass fittings inside of the Superman lock on the wheel that was attached to whatever pole they had in their driveway or wherever they had it hooked up to. And then they would drive it back to a central location where the U-Haul truck was parked, and they would ride the bike up to the U-Haul. And then later that night, early morning, they would drive it back to Camden, and they would sell the bikes for $500 a piece. They did that with dirt bikes. They did that with those four wheelers, every kind of motorcycle you could ever think of, and they would sell them on the street. And and that's when I think bike culture really picked up in the inner cities. Is around when that crotch rocket came out, because I remember, oh man, I had a couple friends that were chased by the police on one of those crotch rockets, man, and man, it was they actually embarrassed the cops. I thought it was so funny what they were doing on the bikes, because when matter of fact in '90, one of my boys who I love to death, he had a stolen bike. A cop got up behind him because he didn't even bother having a tag on. Because if you have a tag on, they're gonna run your tag. You're gonna get pulled over anyway. So they had no tag. So he was driving. And then, what later on they used to get the fake paper tags from Pennsylvania and put on the back of the bike that was actually registered. They had hookups for that after a while. Criminal activity tends to evolve, so they catch up on technology, police technology. They were manufacturing fake insurance card, fake this, fake that, and after a while, so basically he was chasing all through Camden, man. So when we saw the cop up behind him and him popping willies down the street, we all got in our cars because we knew eventually he would have to ditch, because the old guys would tell you can beat the cop, but you can't beat the radio. And that's true. And we all knew that as soon as the cop got up on the radio, gave a description, and actually start chasing, that he would have to bail the bike and actually get out. And, we would be somewhere in the area. One of us would be somewhere in the area, and he could just step in the car and we just take off. So this one particular guy, he did exactly that, man. I mean, he was embarrassing the cop. He was popping willies. he was turning around mid-circle. And then what he did to finally ditch the cop is he ran up an alleyway, a very small alleyway. And he took up the alleyway in an alleyway, and one of my boys actually met him at the end of that block. And they basically, he ditched the bike, he jumped into the car, took off, and he never got caught. I've had instances when a friend of mine, it was funny, they had stole I think it's CBR. I never rode. I don't know how to ride, but I thought about getting a Suzuki 109R, but I'm a little too old to be learning how to ride a bike, right? So basically, they they stole a CBR or something like that, and a Honda. I know it was nice. I remember it was blue and white, man. So one of my boys, he stole it. He brought it back to Camden, and then somebody stole it from him around the corner. This is a drug set that stole the bike. I mentioned this story before in one of my older videos. So he thought it was funny. He didn't care. It wasn't his. He didn't pay for it. So what he did was, okay, you want to play like that? So he went to steal it back. So this went on for about a month. They stealing bikes back and forth, until the drug dealers, got mad and threatened him. And then one of my other boys, the guy that escaped out of the alley, went back and shot at him. And then they came back to where my boys used to hang out with an AK-47, shot out all the car windows on the block, which was terrible because the people on the block had nothing to do with the beef that you had stealing the bike that wasn't yours in the first place. So then I remember one of my boys, one of the dudes in the crew, he was like one of the guys that only came around once a month. They called me the night guy. I only came around on that set at night because I was working. After work I would come by, check out everybody, have fun, and talk. But he used to come around once a month because of his job and what he used to do. But he also stole bikes. He actually used to go down and steal bikes down in North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, any bike week or any place where people were gathered with their bikes and they went into a club. They went down there and they went and got bikes and rode them back to New Jersey. Matter of fact, this one particular guy, he actually went to jail for that. In North Carolina, he was riding. He's on a stolen bike. State trooper in North Carolina got behind him, turned the lights off. Of course, he took off. But and then what happened was traffic started getting tight. So he said, what I'll do is I'll do the off ramp and just do something funny in traffic, get back on, and they won't be able to catch him. So he did that, but the cops, as soon as they hit the off ramp, the cops start shooting at him. The cop actually hit the bike, and the bike caught fire. So great balls of fire. He's riding down the ramp with the bike on fire. And meanwhile, while all this is going on, one of my other boys is on the bike behind the cops. He's behind the stolen bike watching it all. So he actually crashed. He got up, ran, and the bike caught on fire, almost exploded. And I think he did 4 years in North Carolina for that bike. Because he got felony elude, possession of stolen property, theft, interstate, I think it was something like interstate trafficking of a stolen motor vehicle, because I think he stole it out of Georgia or Florida, because they used to go all the way up and down the East Coast. Because I remember some of them had Bugattis. I don't know if you guys are familiar with bikes, but Bugattis at that time were going for about $20,000, and they were stealing Bugattis, all the high end like motorcycles. Well, this is my hood story, second hood story for this week. I pray that you guys ain't thinking about doing some of this dumb stuff. That was the 90s. You cannot do that nowadays because there's cameras everywhere, even on doorknobs. Please don't do it. What you should concentrate on is your relationship with Jesus Christ, because he's the only person you ever really truly be able to rely on, and the only person really ever love you forever. So be in peace in Jesus' name. God bless you. Talk to you later. Peace.